Brother GEMNI888, what's going on, man? I just got done watching a video by BOSTONFAN79V1 about your video about the Erky nerds, smarts, and geeks, whatever, about the new era of wrestling and it's crap and whatnot. And I watched Chris's video, Boston Fan's video. I have to tend to agree with him. He agrees to disagree, and I do too as well. I do critique the way wrestling is today. Don't get me wrong, because I criticize. I criticize. And yeah, I've been around watching wrestling a lot longer than you, Gemini. I've seen some great, great things in the world of professional wrestling. I mean, even before, uh, there's just, you know, it's hard to get into. But I've seen some great, great stuff even before Vince McMahon took over, before WrestleMania, NWA days, all the territorial promotions. I mean, when territorial promotions were around, wrestling was like, you loved it. It was great. And I do tend to agree, now, and here's the issue, because there aren't competition no more to the WWE. TNA may come back a little bit. I don't know how far. Anthem's taken over. Dixie's out. They're talking to Jeff Jarrett. Now, let's face it, when Jeff Jarrett was around, when he ran the company, and he was part of the majority owner, the company flourished. Okay? Now, will they be another WCW? I don't think so. I don't think there's another WCW out there. Right now, let's face it. Think about this. WWE right now is like a WCW. Only without another WWE better than them. Really, seriously. Because WWE's product is not as good. We know that. But when you're a fan of wrestling, and here's my point, Gemini, and this is where I agree with Chris wholeheartedly. When you're a fan of wrestling, yeah, you have a right to criticize and say what you want. But at the end of the day, if there's a pay-per-view, you still watch it. I know I do. I bitch. You can ask diehard WWE addict. I bitch all the time about WWE and I bitch only because I want it better. And I know by me bitching ain't gonna make it better, but I only bitch because I want it better. The past is the past. Times change. Past is totally in the past. We're not gonna see what we saw like in the Attitude Era. It's not gonna happen. So we need to adjust ourselves to the present day product. Whether it be Seth Rollins as a WWE Universal Champion, John Cena even, Roman Reigns, Kevin Owens, AJ Styles, it doesn't matter. We need to adjust to the era. And here's the answer to everything. If you don't feel you can, and you don't like it, don't watch it. Period. I've been watching wrestling close to 40 years. And I've seen the evolution of wrestling. And I've loved it. Now, I have to be honest with you. I'm used to better things in wrestling. And I know you are too, Jem. And I know Chris is as well. But this is what we got. This is what they give us. We're one of millions and millions of people to watch professional wrestling. The one cannot overcome and change things. You band together maybe, you petition, send it. I don't know. I don't have the answer. But all I know is I watch wrestling. I think SmackDown is the better show between SmackDown and Raw, although I think Raw has the better performers overall, except for my man John Cena on SmackDown and AJ Styles. But if you like wrestling, you tolerate it, you watch it, and at the end of the show, you say, okay, it was okay, or it wasn't that good, or whatever. We critique it. But even though we think the show is real bad, most of the time, if you're a true wrestling fan, you tune in next week. At least I do. And I'm sure a lot of other people do as well. So that's all I got to tell you, Gem. I understand where you're coming from, but you got to understand, this isn't in the 80s, or let's go a little further. It's not in the 70s, it's not the 80s, it's not the 90s. It's not even the first decade of the 2000s. This is decade 2. This is 2017. We get what we get. Times do change. And on that note, peace out. We'll see you all next time. Take care, everybody.